Bartholomew, can you set up a safe house so we can lay low?
I believe I can, I say I definitely can.
Well, it might be a little too late for that, mate.
Hey, it's you, from the street. Did you find some Halo?
Bloody hell, mate. We're here to kill you and take the portal.
Well, I hate to disappoint you, but the portal isn't here. We stashed it.
Actually, it's right here. We were supposed to trade it, remember?
Damn it, man. You were supposed to leave it at the law office.
Are you dumb, boy?
Thanks, mate. Saved us a walk.
Sorry, guys. I guess I wasn't listening to the plan.
I said, boys, get behind those crates. I say, hurry.
Jeez, did you see that? Mr. Lejet stopped like 3 fireballs.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like he's got that much left in him.
We need to figure out something. Start opening crates. Maybe we can find a weapon.
Oh, these are just glass bottles. I guess as they come over the crates, I'm going to stab them with this bottle.
Hey, guys, these bottles are full of Halo. This must be one of those smuggler stashes I was talking about.
We don't have time for your nonsense, Wazoo.
Oh, boys, I think I'm spent.
Stay down, you old bird. Obnixus doesn't want us to kill you and piss off the legal eagles.
Yes, I got one in the eye.
Okay, guys, I think I have a plan.
Those are you gonna drink?
Yeah, man, you're starting to glow.
Guys, I feel all powerful. I bet this is how Heliod feels after he's drunk 16 bottles of Halo.
Now what?
I'm gonna start the portal.
What? We need a power source.
I'm gonna be the power source.
Holy shit, it's working.
Guys, go through the portal. Wherever it goes, it's gotta be safer than here.
You're coming with us, right?
I can't. I have to keep the portal open.
You can't stay. You'll die.
Just go.
I guess this is goodbye. I'm gonna miss you, Wazoo.
You were the best, most annoying friend I ever had.
You were a good friend too, Walter.
Bye.
Bye, Mo.
Welcome to another episode of Magic Proving Grounds, the only Magic the Gathering podcast that proves you too can be a pro, so long as you can figure out where your regional championship qualifiers are held. I'm your host, the moderator, if you will, Dave, and with me is Ben.
Hi, everybody.
And other Dave.
I'm here.
Yay!
Speaking of regional store championship things, the last one that we had at my store was where they gave out the Archmage's Charm and the Dark Confidant. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, no, that was just the store championship. This is technically different.
Oh, okay.
But that was the last event that Wizards put on.
Oh, I forgot to update you guys about that.
Yeah.
So, either way. But so my store held it on a day that unfortunately I had to unexpectedly go out of town, so I couldn't participate. However, like 80% of the people, it was such a low turnout, like 80% of the people got the cards, and I'm so mad about it.
That's rough, buddy.
Yeah, I totally would have won it. Like, easy. It's kind of really disappointed.
What format was your store doing?
They were doing standard because modern is a even worse turnout.
So. Oh, I see. And then Pioneer even worse than that.
Oh yeah, Pioneer nobody turns out for.
It's just Ben sitting alone.
No, literally. So
deck.
I went to modern last week and nobody showed up. So me and the guy in the store just played around a Pioneer. And then one other guy came later and I played him in Pioneer, but yeah, that's as much I'm trying to get people interested in it so I can play.
Nice.
But,
how is that going? Are you just like, here's money to buy a deck? Because I feel like that's the only way to get people interested in Modern.
Well, I have some decks that I let people use, and then I'm hoping that inspires them to say, hey, this is cool. I might invest in this.
But it's not cool, so...
Just go all Oprah Winfrey on them and go, you get a Challenger deck, and you get a Challenger deck.
Right.
You all get Challenger decks.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes over time.
Nice. You up to anything else this week you'd like to talk about? Or I assume that happened this week, the Pioneer thing?
Yeah, that was this past week. I have started playing a little bit Historic on Arena, but we can talk about that later.
Why does your voice sound so high-pitched today?
I don't know. I'm talking like I normally am, but it does feel like it's not good.
Yeah,
I can hear it back.
It sounds like you're making a voice. Like you're trying to change your voice.
Hopefully it doesn't come through on the recording.
We're all gonna talk like this.
I'm Batman.
Welcome to the Gears of War Magic the Gathering podcast.
Cog tags, chainsaw guns, bandanas.
Chainsaws are cool.
Chainsaw. What?
Dom, give me that chainsaw. What?
Anyhow, what have you been up to this week, Other Dave?
By and large, mostly just work. I've been playing a little bit more Historic. I have not played with any of the Historic anthology cards, although I have played against a few of them.
As have I, but we can talk about that later. I personally have just been doing a lot of what?
Huh? What?
Anyway, this week I've been doing mostly challenge stuff, but we can talk about that later.
We're just going to talk about everything later.
Well, yeah. So I guess we could go right into the news. The first story I wanted to bring up is that Wizards announced a couple of promos they're going to be giving out during the regional championship qualifiers and then the regional championship that qualifies you for the Pro Tour. Well, why don't we just go through what the promos are and then talk about what I actually want to talk about, which is not promos. So why don't you just read off the list of promos there, Ben?
The cards that you can get from October 1st to December 18th is Thraben Inspector and Selfless Spirit.
Yes, and those would be the regional championship qualifiers.
They're the art's really sick. It's cool art, especially the Selfless Spirit.
Got some neon vibes to it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Specifically, courtesy of the artist Justine Jones. Thraben Inspector is new artwork from Yuko Shimizu.
Awesome. And then for the regional championship, you are getting Gideon, Ally of Zendikar, also in the neon vibes treatment, courtesy of Alexis Zarit. Now that we've listed those off, let's talk about the real story behind this story, which is
how good the art on Gideon is.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It is really good art. I love all the promo art on this with the, I don't know, I feel like it reminds me of Kamigawa. Am I wrong to say that? Because it's all neon-y and neat looking.
No, I think the Selfless Spirit especially looks like Kamigawa. That's definitely that flavor. Yeah. But
so I'm not wrong to be getting those vibes. Okay.
I feel like the Gideon one looks like it belongs in a comic book. Like the action photos, the way it's drawn.
I agree.
The Stark palette.
Yeah. What did you really want to talk about?
What do you want to talk about? I still have no clue how to get any of these promos because I don't know how to look up where my championship qualifiers are around me. And I know that sounds dumb because why don't you just look it up? But it's nowhere. Like you go to the DreamHack website, which covers the United States, and you go, okay, I want to find out where my regional championship qualifier is. You go, you scroll all the way down to the bottom of their page. They're like, locate a store. You click that. It takes you to the Wizards website. Does not tell you when it is, where it is, who's doing it, nothing. And it's so obfuscated that it's kind of frustrating to me. And then to top it all off, you're like, okay, what about the regional championship, which they're having somewhere? I'm going to guess Atlanta because they keep bringing it up, but also it's not like on their website clearly. I don't know. Am I wrong? Am I just a big dunderhead?
I don't think it's just a you problem. I think because that the messaging around this has been quite confusing.
Like you go to their website and it's like, hey, this is how you, as a WPN store, this is how you sign up to host a qualifier. And then they have a thing that at the very bottom that says regional championships that you click and that tells you what kind of money you can get. But it doesn't tell you where or when the thing is, you know?
Maybe it's something that they haven't quite nailed down where, so they're not really saying right now.
But like, that's fine and understandable, I guess. But
it could be like in real big bold letters, information coming soon. Or
yeah, and also,
like
I bet part of it is the dates, because it doesn't have to be held on the same date, right? There's like a date range that the shop has to hold it in.
Yes.
So the shop probably just applies for approval, probably doesn't give them the date. And so
yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like there should be a better way than sending you to Wizard's generic store locator.
Yeah, it's just calling all of your local shops and being like, hey.
Should I have to do that, though? I do see a bit right here, and this is what I mean by I think it's in Atlanta. It says the format for the DreamHack Atlanta Magic Regional Championship is Pioneer. So the regional championship is happening in Atlanta, and it's Pioneer, so...
Know that, Ben, you're going to have an advantage.
See?
Yeah. That's why I'm doing this all. You guys didn't know that?
Where's your regional qualifier at?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out.
I just feel like the information should be easier to get for these tournaments, especially since they're supposed to be really important to the competitive community and stuff. You shouldn't have to start out being Sherlock Holmes in order to figure out where your regional championship qualifier is before you can even play Magic.
Okay, so what would you like Wizards to do?
I mean, honestly, I don't think Wizards has to do anything other than tell DreamHack to put it on their website. Like, as I was saying earlier, like, just sending you to the store locator to try to find something that way is silly because the store locator is terribly out of date. I know for a fact there's some stores in my area that it pops up that they don't do Magic at anymore, or they don't hold in-store events anymore. So like sending me there to find a store that's close to me that I then go to and they're like, yeah, we don't do that no more, isn't working, and for obvious reasons. But if like DreamHack knows who's holding them, because you have to fill out for a pack and to get the approval and stuff, so why don't they just put who they know is holding them and when?
But that's the thing that I just want to is, do they know when?
Okay, but they know who. Like they might not know when, but also when you fill out the pack, they could be like, pick a date and tell us when you're holding them, so that we know. You know.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because I would like to like at least check this out.
I mean, I feel like that's got to be hard on the store though too, because like they have to apply, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you pick a date when you don't even know if you're actually going to be able to have the tournament?
That's fair, I suppose.
Now I can understand being like, all right, you guys are approved. Now tell us the date. But then what happens if the store doesn't get back to you? Like, it seems like there's a lot of things that can kind of make that awkward. But I do agree there should be somewhere where you can at least see what stores are doing it.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the best I could get, I would settle for that, because then at least I know who to call instead of calling the 15 shops that are in the distance I'm willing to drive to ask them personally which one is doing what.
There's only 15 shops in the distance you're willing to drive. What are you willing to drive? 5 minutes?
Yeah, basically. I'm very lazy. I hate driving, man.
I don't know. I'm trying to make sense of this FAQ. It looks like there's you got to have like a premium status, a WPM premium status to run it, maybe. So that would give you, if you could find out which stores are premium, then that would give you an idea of what is available at this point. But it seems like they're still waiting for applications to be, approved and set up, and then the store has to buy a kit, and then XYZ on, and that's not ready yet, it seems. So
So this is happening in October 1st to December. So that's August, September, 3 months away.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I'm being a little too hard on them with their dating in that regard, because, driving to the shop that's half an hour away isn't that big of a deal.
And this is the first time DreamHacks kind of got the nod, right? They're just starting this. So maybe as it goes forward, it'll work out.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're a huge event organizer for
the Kinks
computer games. So, I mean, they should have their shit together.
I have to drive a half hour no matter what if I wanted to go play in a paper tournament. There is no, I guess, official. There is a place here in town that holds them kind of like ramshackle, no real judge or just some old dude. Almost feels like it's being held in a basement. I don't go to those scare me.
I think horror movies start out like that.
Yeah. And there's another shop here in town, but they definitely don't hold any official events. They just have like a boatload of cards.
So I guess I will give them a pass on the regional qualifiers, but there should be more information on the championship, the regional championship. I mean, that's between February 25th and April 2nd that they're holding that. And we know that it's in Atlanta, but people got to make plans,
Yeah.
So.
Well, you have to qualify first, so.
Well, yeah, but also you don't have to go, like, it's easier to make plans and then cancel them than it is to make plans on the spur of the moment.
Right. Yeah, and they're running that. It's not like their own show, They should.
Yeah, that's their own show.
It's not like a random shop hosting them. It's their baby, so they should have.
Yeah, and it's just confusing to me.
I'm a little confused by that too, because we'll be scheduled between February 25th and April 2nd. Is a huge date range,
right?
Yeah, and that is because this is me having Watsy's back, so don't accuse me of just being a hater. That's the regional for the world, so there's 11 different organizers for each region for the world.
Yeah, so they can do that within that date range.
Yeah.
So DreamHack's just not got that all in order yet.
Yeah, which is weird to me.
Hey,
so, I don't know.
I'm going to just say from my perspective, I'm not even sure, and we've talked about this multiple times, and I've read a bunch of stuff, and I'm still not sure how I qualify to be on the Pro Tour. Like, I know there's some things you can do on Arena and MTGO, and I don't know how that works. And then I can go play face to face, and that makes a little bit more sense because it's more tangible. But I don't have an idea of where, So
I can answer that question for you. In your case, you don't qualify.
Oh, you saying I'm that bad?
I wouldn't say that.
I just got to get more reps in. That's all. That's why I'm trying to trick people into playing Pioneer with me, so I get more reps in. I'm going to have to bust down and do MTGO, I think. It's the only solution.
Probably.
I know people who have gone that route before and have said that it's not that bad. Or it's not as bad as
it's fine.
Feels like.
But they posted the pyramid again in the news article.
They sure did.
You start at the bottom and you work your way up. That's how it works.
They sure did.
Step 1 is prove your skill at your local scene.
Uh-huh.
And then step 2 is
step 1
they don't
is
play
swim
Pioneer.
With the sweaty masses.
Step 1 is figure out where your championship qualifier is. That's the largest part of the pyramid they seem to have cut off to save space.
Yeah. And unfortunately, you can't just do it on Arena because Pioneer is not on Arena. I mean, we're getting those anthologies, so but they won't be in there before the Pro Tour. It won't be Pioneer yet. That's going to be a multi-year thing. So,
yeah,
right. But that one, you're getting an invite to that one, so I assume you're going to know where that one is. Like you have to qualify for that one, right?
Right. Yes.
So yeah, it's not like you're not going to qualify for it, and they're going to be like, "All right, here's your scavenger hunt clues."
Geocaching.
I mean, that would be kind of cool, actually. Okay.
Speaking of anthologies.
Speaking of anthologies.
You need to start by looking at the Declaration of Independence.
It's written on the back.
Gonna steal the Declaration of Independence. I do appreciate a good National Treasure reference. Speaking of national treasures, how about their anthologies?
Meh.
Huh?
Meh.
Um,
Meh.
I was
know
most excited about the preview cards, and then when they released the rest of them, I was like, "Oh, okay." So the real notable cards were in the preview cards. Got it.
Yes. Let's take a look at the historic bundle because I have some questions.
Uh-huh.
Specifically, they released the Modern Horizon artifact lands.
Yep.
What does this do for historic?
With just specifically in the lands.
Yeah, like what? Like
Okay, so I was brewing some decks, and I said, "Oh, with this, it's probably got like helping Affinity be a viable archetype in historic." So I spent a bunch of wild cards building an Affinity deck, and I think I've come to the conclusion that it might be better not using the artifact lands since they come into play tapped. It's very like limiting in that regard.
so, there is enough affinity artifacts and stuff in historic right now to do an affinity.
Yeah, but it's not the
Deck.
greatest. It's not
answer
like
is
the
no.
modern paper one, but yeah.
I don't think this is for Affinity.
Okay, what do you think it's for?
I think they are giving you an option that helps you counter land destruction for your dual lands.
Okay, I can get that. That Gruul land destruction deck is a little annoying, so
Well,
I can buy that. My flaming hot take is this pre-planting artifact lands in the historic format because they know what's in Brothers War, which most assuredly has to be an artifact set.
it's
No
possible.
artifacts in the Brothers' War.
What are you smoking, friend? Come on.
Have you read the books?
I have. There's plenty of artifacts.
I know. I read it too.
So now the Gruul deck just needs to run Shadow Spear, and then they can destroy your land.
Some of these cards actually kind of, because I have been playing Historic a lot, I'm surprised I have not seen some of these.
Okay, so I have a funny story. So I'm playing my deck that I worked up for the Historic Challenge, and I drop a big creature on the ground on the battlefield, and then a rabbit bite my opponent's only creature, take it off the board, and then they drop Chalice of the Void for 2, right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, that deals with some of my removal because the rabbit bite is 2, and I'm like, okay. Guess I just won't cast any more Rabid Bites. And then the next turn, I don't even know what card they played, but it was a 2 converted mana cost card, and Chalice countered it, and then they just quit. So I was like rolling. I was like, that's good stuff. So I've seen Chalice of the Void, I think is the only card I've seen so far from this.
Well, I haven't seen
bundle.
any of the cards from this yet. I expected to see more Chalices. I mean, Glimpse, I don't really see a lot of mill decks. I know Rogues are out there, but does Glimpse even fit into that deck the way it's built? Probably not.
Yeah, this offering was kind of middling, I'd say.
I really thought I would see more Goyfs.
Yeah, I didn't see any.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them yet either.
No, they'll probably come, but also Goyf. People have kind of moved past Goyf too. So
I mean, they've moved past it in Modern because of the power level.
Right.
That is not Historic.
Right.
Historic does not have that power level.
well, they might come to it eventually. I don't know why.
I mean, I know it can still get Fatal Push, but it's still.
So back to my thing about, I just want confirmation. I want to be told my big boy smart brain. So do you think the artifact lands are for Brothers War pre-plants, or just because of the Gruul Destruction deck? What's more likely? Why not both, if you will?
Yeah, there's probably a multitude of reasons. All 3 probably to help Affinity out to make indestructible lands to counter the Gruul and for Brothers War or Dominaria. It's probably a mixture of all 3. But again, I mean, even in Modern, people have moved away from these lands because they come into play tapped, and it leaves you like you're always a turn behind, basically. You know, if you just run these.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know there was any land in Modern that ever came to play tapped.
They prefer not to. The triomes are about it.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm not playing the Affinity for the challenge because I just didn't like how it. I mean, it still comes out very fast, but it seems like on the same power as every other deck, not like Affinity usually is. And I kind of have that idea in Modern as well, like in paper form. But there's more access to different cards, so it's a little more powerful in Modern.
So, any other notable cards in this anthology that you guys want to talk about?
I can talk about one of them later, but I don't want to spoil my deck.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Well,
bullshit.
Well, we'll do it in the challenge area.
But you guys know my deck already.
Well, I didn't.
we thought you were changing it.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, that's fair.
Oh, well, now you spoiled something.
Yeah, I know. All right, though. I'll live.
All right. Well, let's move to the Explorer anthology, which I think offered some more interesting cards.
I have at least seen some of these cards.
See, I haven't played a lot of Explorer this week.
Yeah.
Well, they're in historic too.
That's true. I did get Supreme Verdict once.
Yeah, I've seen Favorite Hoplite. I have seen
Oh, yeah.
Artifact.
That's that deck that the Favorite Hoplite is actually really good.
Yeah.
It like just gets away from you real quick.
Yeah.
I have seen Searing Blood, seen Elvish Mystic, and
Okay.
seen Supreme Verdict.
So where are we at on the Siege Rhino? Is that still a good card?
I didn't know. I thought that was only a good card in Standard when it came out.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a good card, but is it still played? I guess
I don't know.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's a big thing.
Is it in any Pioneer decks?
No.
Ben?
Negative.
Oh, okay.
I think
Negatory.
its biggest problem is the colors that it's in. I mean, yeah, 4/5 for 4 that gains you 3 life, it takes 3 life from your opponent. It's good, but
And has trample.
yeah, but the support in those colors around it, like I don't know, I can't think of any green, black, white deck at all that I've ever seen.
What's the name of that color combination?
I can't even think of it. That's how little it gets played.
It's Sultai.
Oh,
Is that
Sultai.
it?
Yeah,
No, Sultai is black, green, blue.
Oh, you're right.
It's God, what is it?
Right. So
I can't even remember. I'm not going to waste any time trying.
I think the standout in this list is actually my buddy Dark Seal Citadel. Holler.
Abzan is what it's called.
Yeah, thank you for looking that. That would have haunted me forever. Yeah, I was excited to see that card.
That's a
It's
stud. Dark Steel Citadel.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already played against 2 decks where the whole goal is to Dark Steel install Artifact to Dark Steel Citadel. So
Yeah.
Ooh, that is tight.
It's indestructible.
So does this anthology set release change the landscape of Explorer notably?
I think it'll
Or
just
no?
slot decks in. Like things will slot into decks where they go. I'm not sure. I can't comment on if things will like crop up new different decks because of them. Like Supreme Verdict will go in the control deck. The Elvis Mystic will go in the mono green ramp, and Kalitas Trader of Get will go in the Rakdos mid range. Mausoleum Wonder will go in the mono blue. But other than that, I don't know what else.
I just want to point out my boy here at the bottom, Hangerback Walker.
It's a good card.
He makes me happy. I'm glad to see that card on Arena.
I'm not, but
Yeah.
It's such a neat card, man.
Yeah, I
When
experimented
they first
with it.
announced it. I was like,
And ultimately ended up not putting it in my Affinity deck.
are you letting us know, and by not saying it, that your historic challenge deck is an Affinity
No,
deck?
I said that I did not go with that deck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You keep talking about this Affinity deck.
Well, I tried it, and that's one of my other, when I said earlier that like, yeah, brewing on Arena is not fun. You spend
It really
so much,
really
like
isn't.
you have this really good idea, and then you spend so many wild cards, and then you're like, oh well, that didn't work out, and then you have to spend more wild cards to get a different card.
Yeah. So
It's
let's just
frustrating.
wrap this piece up, and then we can go into our challenge discussion. Any other comments on Explorer Anthology 1 or both anthologies in general?
No.
Nope. Okay, so didn't really change the landscape, but it gave toys to existing decks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, that and Soul Artifact deck is new, and Favored Hoplite is a pretty big addition to some of those decks, but I don't know if that deck is any good or not, because both times that I matched up against it, I trounced it. It's possible that they were not good builds, that people were just trying something out, or it's possible that the deck is bad, or it's possible I just had great hands. I don't know. I only matched up against it twice, so I can't really...
Yeah, well, time will tell, I guess, because it's only been out for less than a week. So I guess we'll check back in on the State of Explorer at some point in the future. But
if it sucks, it's Ben's fault.
Yep, because I'm the Explorer guy, I guess.
So let's move on to the Historic Challenge, and let's give a brief overview of our decks that we chose. Other Day put out the challenge, so let's begin with a brief overview of the decks. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first since my deck is kind of already out there. I have a mono red aggro deck. It's pretty simple. It's mono red aggro.
Okay, so
there's not really much else to say about it, is there?
Let's just say about this. Any key cards in it that really make the deck perform?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Goblin Chain Whirler.
Oh, I am too.
And
that does work.
Torbran's always a fun card.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one that doubles damage from red sources?
Well, it adds 2 damage to all damage.
Oh, it's 2 damage. Okay. Sweet. Okay, let's move on to Ben's deck, because I'm interested to hear what he came up with.
So in the Historic Anthology, you might have noticed a card that was in there. I'm trying to get the name of it. Retrofitter Foundry. So I saw that card and I said, wow, that seems like it might be a really nifty addition. So I kind of built me a Thopter deck that generates a ton of Thopters using a lot of cards from the Kaladesh.
Okay.
You play a card, it makes
What
Thopters.
colors are you in?
It's blue, white, and red. Well, it really only has one red card in there, but the mana worked out as such that it's pretty consistent that way.
Cool.
And a lot of artifacts.
Cool.
So
a lot of artifacts.
Kind of the idea is that you make the Thopters and you hit them with them.
Nice. Do you have favorable wins in your deck?
Well, not to spoil it, but there's this card that I've found. It's called Junkwinder. It's a Modern Horizons uncommon. I've never seen it played anywhere. This card has affinity for tokens. It costs like 7 converted mana cost. It's like a 4/5. And so you get it out for 2 blue because you have a bunch of Thopters. And it has another effect on it that whenever you play a token, you get to tap target creature, I think it's creature, maybe non-land permanent. But anyway, you tap something of the opponent's and it doesn't untap during their next untap step. So essentially you generate all these Thopters then you tap all the opponent's stuff so they can't hit you. I'm hoping it works out okay. We'll see, though.
Okay.
So and then you find out the one change that someone made to their deck was to add Shatterstorm.
Right. Hopefully not.
Lock in the decks, man. That's why you got to do it. Okay, well, that leaves me. And I think I had mentioned when the Alchemy Baldur's Gate came out that I wanted to try a Gate deck. So that's what I did. I put together a Gate deck. I didn't use any of the cards from any of the anthologies because they weren't really needed. Pretty good Gate deck, I think. It has the basic components of a Gate deck. So it's got the Gatebreaker Ram, Gates Ablaze, the Gatekeeper Colossus, and the Gargoyle thingy are the main creatures and stuffs. And then an epic butt ton of gates thanks to Baldur's Gate. So, and Follow the Tracks, which was the alchemy card that conjures gates. That's my brief overview. Basically, put big creatures out quickly. Gatekeeper Colossus gets cost reduction for each gate you have.
Nice.
I think it works out pretty well. I was playing the ranked queue and got, a decent win rate. So a lot better than the Smuggler Stash deck. So I'm interested to see how all this works because I think we got a pretty decent range of decks. Really interested to see how your Thropter deck pulls.
Yeah, well,
comes out.
He mentioned his Goblin Chain Whirler, and that worries me more than anything, to be honest.
Well, got Gates Ablaze, man, so maybe you're going to be in a world of hurt.
I say Gates Ablaze is what is my concern.
Oh, maybe I'll win this time. I'm getting excited. Okay, well, we will be streaming later today, and we'll come back and tell you how it is.
Okay, welcome back. We have done the challenge, and Superior Dave remains Superior Dave with the first place finish. Second place is myself, and third place is Moderator Dave. If you want to see the matches being played, go ahead and check the link in the show notes and navigate to our YouTube, where you will find the video there.
Why don't you bring your deck up, Ben, on your screen?
Who's bringing who's showing their deck off first?
I'm showing my deck off, I guess.
Okay.
This was my deck. I didn't get hardly any of the things that I use.
His deck did not get hardly any of what he used.
Yes, exactly. Like, I didn't even see the Junk Winder, man. The Junk Winder,
yeah.
it kind of takes over stuff. But the problem is that I guess since against a red aggro deck, the spot removal keeps me from having enough to get the Junk Winder out, because I could get the Junk Winder out on turn 3 if nobody messes with my stuff, or turn 4 maybe, but that's only if nobody messes with the stuff.
Assuming no opponent interaction is always a mistake.
Well, yes. What I'm saying is that the red spot removal prevents the Junk Winder from really being used.
I understand that in that specific matchup, that's what you're referring to. But in any
why
matchup,
I went to my sideboard and put more removal in, or these Master Tinkerers in.
Will you quit whining about the f***ing sideboard?
Well, I just think we need to do sideboards.
Look, man, I only got so much bandwidth in my brain. I can't handle sideboards.
But what I was going to say, like, there is no matchup right now where you're not going to have interaction with your things. People are going to come after your things. It doesn't matter, even against a non-red aggro deck. Everything right now.
Right, but if you have a fast deck that goes up against this, my sideboard should be to combat fast decks, because that's the weakness of this deck. So I know there's going to be interaction regardless. A lot of it I can take because I eventually stabilize, right? So it's all about minimizing like the damage. And then when I stabilize at 4 health and you can't hit me anymore, then I win the game. But like I said, it was poor against the red aggro. That's the point.
I mean, my deck also specifically has ways to get to you that are not creatures. You know, the Roiling Vortex.
Yeah, direct damage.
And the Bone Crusher Giants. And specifically against your deck also, the Raptor probably is like, if you would have had white mana open the time you said you would have played a Django, I would not have attacked with the Raptor. But I was like, okay, the only mana he has is blue and red, and if he has something to kill the Raptor in red, he has something to kill the Raptor in red. It doesn't make a difference if I attack or not. But if he has white, then I could attack with it. I could go into an Django or some kind of attacking, blocking creature thing. I would leave him back because he would be key in your matchup. As many tokens as you make, taking a damage for each token, I wouldn't have risked him. If we're just talking, areas of improvement, I guess, like, you didn't see a lot of these cards. I assume the Ornithopter is in there so that you can sacrifice it to the Foundry and get there a little bit quicker.
Essentially, you have a turn 2 4/4 if you have both of those in your opening hand.
And Shadow Spear is just was it just a filler card? Did you just need something there? Or?
Well, I like the idea of having it. I mean, I could get rid of the Shadow Sphere, but when you have, I had 2 in at one point, and then I cut the 1 to add more removal, but I needed to cut more to add more removal, but I had a deck submission. So if I keep tooling this, what I would do is I would consider removing the Shadow Spear. It is really nice to have that trample with your Nettle Cyst, was the idea initially.
I don't hate Shadow Spear. I think it's a really good card, but I think you either need to run multiples or not run them, because one of is just you're not going to see it consistently.
Well, so that's why Oswald Tinkerpot, Cobblepot, or whatever his name is, when he goes and finds artifacts, you sack an artifact, he goes and finds artifacts. That's why I considered him as well, so he could find these two artifacts: the Shadow Sphere, Retrofitter, Foundry. He can go find things, or even an Ornithopter.
I like March of Otherworldly Light. I think that's a good addition.
Yeah. This Banishing Slash is nice. I was playing between the two of them, and like I mentioned earlier, it being an enchantment also buffs the Nettle Cyst, so that's nice, and it only costs 3 forever. So if I tried to get Dave's 8/8 with the March, I would have had to pay out the wazoo to...
Right, I know. A mix of both of them is smart. I just saying, I like the 2 over there and the 2 of the Banishing Light. I don't think sideboard is going to be as big for you as you think it is, because you're acting like your opponent's not going to sideboard. Like if I had built a sideboard, there would be artifact hate in my sideboard for sure, because even not knowing what you're building, I'm in red, it's easy access to artifact hate, and it's probably a weakness of mine. And if I go strong into artifact hate in my sideboard, I'm just as good against you as I probably was before, even with your sideboard.
Yeah, fair. But sideboarding is half the battle. G.I. Joe.
Yeah, it wasn't half of this battle because we said no sideboards.
Okay, so that's it. That's the thing. In place of the Overseer, I could play the Master Tinkerer to make my Thopters more bigger. But what I found is when I turned them into 4/4s, they no longer got the buff, so it's kind of like not as synergistic. But in some situations, that can help. The other one that's not in my sideboard is Psy Master Thopterist. When you cast an artifact spell, create a 1/1 color Thopter, and then you can sack 2 artifacts to draw a card. So it's less important the top one, and more important the sack 2 artifacts. Plus the big back end helps against, would have helped against like Garble and Chain Whirlers.
Yeah, I actually think Psy is the better, because you cast a lot of artifacts, you're going to get a lot of Thopters out of it. I think that gets you there quicker than...
So... The Steel Overseer was the latest edition I was trying. I'd probably switch back to Psy, because Psy is what I had in.
What's the Whirler Rogue do?
Okay, so the Whirler Rogue is actually really important.
Okay.
So it makes 2 Thopters when you put it out, but the tap 2 untapped artifacts you control, target creature can't be blocked. So that's whatever has the Nettle Cyst on it.
Yeah, no, that's good. I didn't know what it did because I'd never seen it. Or I didn't see it in my match. Yeah. And then the blue-red dude?
He makes 2 Thopters, but you can improvise, so basically I pay a red and a blue for him.
I think maybe I would put Psy in over him.
I don't know, dude. This guy is, when you can play him for red and a blue and you drop 3 things, 2 1/1 flyers and a 2/2, it's pretty...
Yeah, but you're paying 1 more for Psy, and in the long run, you're probably getting more Thopters out of it. And
I could try it.
And Psy, I think also, like Psy and Steel Overseer both are targets for removal, which means your other stuff is more free to do what it needs to do. Whereas that dude, I would just let him sit there. I wouldn't go after him at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you play him, he's a 2/2.
Yeah, unless I happen to bounce him with Otawara, but I've never actually done that.
Yeah, and then you get into a situation that's not an optimal line to play.
No. I've never actually done it, like I said. I wish I had Psy in there over the Steel Overseer.
Can you bounce it with Ottawa?
Yeah.
Bounce over the land?
It's artifact, creature, enchantment, or planeswalker.
Yeah, but for some reason I thought it said opponent. Opponents.
No. To its owner's hand. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. All right.
So, yeah, this was a bad call, because I had him in my hand one time, but I knew he was just going to die if I put him out, so I was playing different plays, the Steel Overseer against you. And Psy is ultimately the best move besides the Steel Overseer. Like, if you're talking about Master Trinketeer or Psy or Overseer, it's Psy, I think. Yeah, let's just move on to yours.
Okay, so what we have here is my deck. I don't know, it just didn't come out and get any of my threats. Randomness kind of sucks. I don't know.
But you show me the Gatekeeper Gargoyle. I'm not familiar with that one.
That's a pretty nice one.
So it's nice. I agree.
He's just expensive.
Well, yeah.
I mean, ideally in this, you have threats turn 4, turn 3.
If everything shakes out the way it's supposed to by getting some ramp early and stuff, turn 3, I can lay one of these Gatebreaker down. Turn 4 or turn 5, we can put one of these down because I'll have 4 gates in play by then.
I mean, if you have the Llanowar Elf, then you can drop it turn 4 because you should have 4 gates and one of them will be tapped. Mm-hmm. You have 3 mana plus the Elf.
Yep, cost reduction. Like if I can get an early growth spell off with land in my hand, I can drop 2 lands a turn, and then that'll put me back on course. You know what I'm saying? Where I won't be behind because of coming into play tapped. But the big trick in my deck, and I pulled this off last night when I was playing, is doing the Banefire and having like a bunch of gates in play.
Yeah,
and then using Baldur's Gate's second ability to float mana, and then putting down another Baldur's Gate, and then tapping it again. Floating more mana, and then killing them in one turn.
Nykthos Shrine to Nyx trick.
Yeah, it's the real money shot, if you will, of this deck. If you can pull it off, it's pretty sweet. But usually when things come out like they're supposed to, you're winning with just hitting them in the face with really big creatures that happen to be kind of cheap, relatively speaking.
Can you mouse over Follow the Tracks?
Oh, yeah. This is the one that conjures gates. This is nice to have because sometimes I don't get the right color gate, so I can get the blue so I can cast Growth Spiral. Because as you can see, I only have 8 ones that do blue, which is fine because I only have 1 card that requires blue. Sometimes you get in a situation where you have to drop this and then pull a Sea Tower out.
When you conjure, do you choose?
Yes.
Okay. I just wonder, I guess my thing, I like the Root Snare because it's going to give you some early, preventative. Mm-hmm. I might swap out the Rabid Bite for something else, though. It's too dependent on you having a creature.
True. But what? And this, removal that's in this color set.
Yeah. Well, you have red. I mean, Bone Crusher Giant is a good one. He's modal.
Yeah, but it's 2 damage, man. What am I like?
Mm-hmm.
So I think Benoit is partially right. Rabid Bite is dependent on you having a creature, and you only have 12 creatures.
Okay.
But also, Rabid Bite is a lot of damage with what you have in there. So I would almost think don't get rid of the Rabid Bite, but cut it down some. Because the other thing that you need is some early interaction, which Bone Crusher does help with as well. So you get early. If you go 2 and 2, you have some early interaction with Bone Crusher. And you still have the Rabid Bite if you need it. I would go 3 and 3 and reduce your gargoyles by 2.
I would go with that because there's games where I don't even play the gargoyles because they're kind of over.
Ideally you're ending it with either the Ram or the Colossus. You're not trying to last until 6 with the gargoyle.
Yeah,
and it seems like it's kind of high end where you need something more low end. So you keep 2 gargoyles so that you have some bigger threats still, and then you go down 1 Rabid Bite, add some Bone Crushers for early interaction. I think you're in a lot better place.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't disagree with that. That's a good assessment. So drop down 2 gargoyles and 1 Rabid Bite and put in 3 Bone Crushers. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay. Sounds good. Did you like that?
Other than that, I think it's good. I mean, the Banefire is awesome. The Gates Ablaze proved to be invaluable.
For real. The only other thing I was thinking about, and it's probably, that's why I didn't do it, because I was really heavy on the fence, is adding at least another Root Snare. But I think the Bone Crusher scenario really deals with what I was concerned about. Early game, creatures getting away from me.
The other thing that I would think about, I might actually get rid of the Growth Spiral.
Okay.
Give me a second. Try and remember the name of the replacement here.
Yeah, I'd have to hear, because I don't necessarily disagree with you. It rarely goes off to where I get to drop 2 lands.
I just wish, what do the lands do? I mean, when you can pull random cards, right, and only use them once?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's basically like drawing, but you got to pay for it, right? How much does it? They all cost $4.
Yes.
I can't see them.
Yeah, they're all the same, just in different colors. But that's what they are. Take a non-land card, activate only once. So it randomly selects a non-land card from your deck, draws it for you.
What if?
Well, I don't think it
What if?
counts as draw.
Okay, crazy enough. What if all your non-land cards were bangers, like Colossal Sky Turtle?
Do you have the Plaza of Harmony in there, actually, before I go too far down this rabbit hole?
The land, no.
I would think about adding that. That'll give you some life gain, also allow you to get a little bit later into it.
But is that a gate? I don't know off the top of my head.
It's not a gate, but when it enters the battlefield, if you control 2 or more gates, you gain 3 life. And when you tap it, you can add any mana of the type that a gate you control can produce.
Yeah, that is a good ad. I like the life gain.
Guild Summit. That's the card I was thinking about replacing.
What's it do? Because I didn't
Spiral.
look at that and consider it. It's in blue, though, right?
Yeah.
When it enters
It's
battlefield, tap any number of gates you control, draw a card for each gate, tap this way. When it enters the battlefield under your control, or when a gate enters the battlefield, draw a card. That would be a
that's going to give you
gift
way more
given.
card draw. And then Follow the Tracks I like.
Mm-hmm.
But Circuitous Route, did you look at that?
I did not.
Look for that real quick.
I specifically wanted to play with this card, but
Right, just
you are expecting me to be able to spell.
I was just going to say search for route. That's probably the easier.
Can't spell for shit. So that's search your library for 2 basic land cards and or gate cards and put them onto the battlefield. Yeah, that's a way better card.
Because that gives you 2. It's 1 more, but it gives you 2, and it gives you access to whatever color you need.
To put the Plaza Harmony in, what lands do you think I should cut? Because I feel like if I'm doing Guild Summit, I'm going to need to put more blue land in my deck, especially if I'm cutting Follow the Tracks. Because
if you have 8 land and you're running the Circuitous Route where you can search for the land that you need, that gives you 12 cards that are going to give you the blue mana.
Okay,
I wouldn't stress it too much.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I would play test it and see if that's how you still feel afterwards. But if I was gonna cut something, I would probably cut like 1 each of the guild gates or whatever guild gates. I would cut 1 of the green-red guild gates and add a mono blue one, or I would split the mono red one. The second one is just green, isn't it? Never mind. Yeah, I would just take 1 each from there and put 2 blue ones in.
Sounds good. So we're doing 2 gargoyles, 1 rabid bite, growth spirals out for follow the tracks out.
Yeah, because if you have the bone crushers, you have more early game targets for the rabid bite, so that's good. And it will be 4 damage from the bone crusher or 3?
4 from the bone crusher.
Yeah, 4. That's pretty decent. All right, while you're doing that, follow me here. You make a card. You make all the cards you have in your deck are like bangers. Well, of course, that's always what you want. So you have all lands, but you only have a few other cards. You have like Gatekeeper, or you have the Gatekeeper Gargoyle's good, Gate Colossus, and then the Gatebreaker Ram. Maybe the Gates Ablaze. But the rest are all lands. So that when you seek the card, you're getting one of those really awesome cards. You follow me? Like you're never going to get a dud.
I mean, that sounds good on paper, but that's also like you're kind of very glass cannon-y at that point.
Yeah, because you can't. You've got very likely nothing to do for 5 rounds.
That's why your lands are man lands or channel lands.
Oh, okay.
You might put some Colossal Sky Turtles in there so you can just channel that thing.
Right, but then if you're doing that, what do you don't have the gates to support Gate Colossus or Gatebreaker Ram.
I think there's a way.
I think you're wrong.
What rarity are these? Uncommons? Dang, I'm low on those. I shouldn't have cashed them in for... I did that thing where you cash them into the commons and uncommons of the set. And
then you can build your vault.
Yeah, it turns out the vault doesn't give you very much. I mean, it's helpful, but it's not... At this point, I'd rather have those back.
Just going to move on to other Dave's deck, or have we decided it's good enough since it won all the things?
I mean, if you just real quick, Superior Dave, I'm contractually obligated to call you now. If you just want to talk about what things really work in the deck, like the Chain Whirler is good. I mean, it's there. Is there anything that's not like a usual like staple? I noticed the Robber of the Rich. I don't know why Robber of the Rich is not used very often.
I don't know either. It's one of my favorite cards.
Because if that's been around for a while, I feel like I should have played against it at some point. It's like Monkey, except you don't get a mana, but it doesn't really matter because the you can spend the mana as if it was any color. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like the Monkey's helpful because it helps you ramp, but it also helps you cast the card that you've pulled. But it's worse than Monkey, but Monkey doesn't exist on here, so like.
So a few of the things that I don't run, because a lot of decks run the Bugbear land.
Yeah.
And to me, if I am using that land, then I am probably losing the match anyway, so I would just rather have a mountain and not have to worry about it coming in untapped.
Yeah, I have found with the Bugbear land that a lot of times you use it as a defense, if you use it at all, and you don't get that extra token, so... Burning Tree, Emissary... Is that just to ramp into another spell?
Yeah, it's just a double. There have been multiple times, it didn't happen any time while I was playing you guys, where I can Burning Tree into a Robber, or Burning Tree into another Burning Tree into another Robber, and have 6, basically 3 2/2s out on turn 2.
Yeah, that seems pretty good, because you're pretty much always going to have a spell to play with that, unless your hand's empty. Goblin Chain Whirler wouldn't maximize that, but that's like the only one, right?
Yeah. Yep. Anything else I can use it for colorless. I messed up on it one time with Goblin Chain Whirler. Rolling Vortex has been awesome. I think this is a really underutilized card.
It is.
Especially in the meta right now where so much stuff gets cast for free.
Mm-hmm.
Like your Ornithopter.
Yep. I was going to die if I didn't play it anyway, so.
Yeah.
I mean.
The Kari Zev I've gone back and forth on. So I'd like to have 2 of her, but then for some reason, every time I add 2 of her, I end up with both of her in my hand, and I'm like, okay, great, I can't play one.
Yeah. She's really, like, the thing about Kari Zev is she's very hard to kill unless you direct damage her or exile her.
And she plays really great into Torbran because it gives me 2 sources of red damage to increase the damage of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rather than the one that all these other 2 drops do. But it's just, I need to be streamlined, and if I get 2 of her, I'm not.
And one thing I'll also notice about your thing is your mana curve's a lot better than what mine is. I have not a good lot of slots on 2.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of cards on the 2. That's why I was fiddling around with the Steel Overseer, because it costs 2. I wanted to fill that. A lot of times on turn 2, I would like try to make a servo or something, but I need to find a better slot for that. So consistency with your mana curve is being consistent also lends to you winning rate, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of having a consistent curve, and I do find a lot of situations, even with 24 land, I end up not being able to drop a 3-drop or a 4-drop on turn 3 or 4 sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
When I saw this 24 land, I was like, oh, that's a lot for an aggro, but then you factor in the Rama Map Runins.
Yeah.
And that's helpful. Can you scroll over Castle Embreth?
Yeah, I think I might take a mountain out and make that 2 Embreths.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that could be a good mana dump.
For the most part, that's going to come into play untapped.
Right.
Yeah, there shouldn't be any circumstance where that's coming into play tapped. It's not like I have a whole bunch of other non-basic lands. I'm afraid to go up beyond 2 because that might happen, but I feel like at 2 I should be fine. Yeah, all these things like the Vortex and the Ferocidon, when you combine it with Torbran, really do numbers on people.
Yeah, I can see that.
But Robber of the Rich is probably my favorite card that has come out since Arena started.
Full stop, like not even joking, that was the card that pissed me off the most. because you stole my, and this is monkey issues, right? It's the same thing. You stole my nettle cyst. You stole a Dovin. And I was like, if I just had that nettle cyst, I'd be in a better place right now.
Yeah, there was a match that I played while I was waiting for you guys to get online where I stole someone's Archmage's Charm. And the final bit of combat, I had two of the ringleaders out.
Mm-hmm.
He Archmage Charmed the ringleader so that he could block the lethal damage, and then I used his own Archmage's Charm to steal it back.
That's funny. No, man, he shouldn't be a rogue either. That Reckless ringleader is really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's real nice, too, because once Robert Rich has exiled stuff, I can get it with the Reckless ringleader when he attacks. Yeah.
Yep.
Any rogue after that.
Robert the Rich is pretty cool. Because even with the monkey, you have to cast it on that turn.
Mm-hmm.
You can't cast it on a later turn. Now, you're always going to cast it second main, but I feel like that leaves you more modality.
It really makes me want to build a 3-color rogue deck, but there's just not enough in red rogues to make it worth adding it to the current blue-black rogues.
What's Robert the Rich's price? In paper?
You mean
266? So it's poor man's monkey, and he's the robber of the rich. That's funny. So that's it. That's I guess that's the deck analysis here. You can check out our decks on Moxfield.
I'll have to say, watching your guys' decks do the thing was awe-inspiring.
Well, I thank you. Yours was as well.
All right, Ben. Why don't you tell them where they can find us?
You can find us on Twitter at MPGPod. You can find me on my personal Twitter at BeNiceMPG. Where can they find you, Moderator Dave?
They can find me on Twitter at Dave_MPG. Other Dave, I assume, still is not found the internet, and he's likely better for it.
The internet exists? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's a thing. We'll tell you about it later.
Yeah, you really need to figure it out because I'm tired of having you mail me your clip in a thing. I don't like talking over the phone anymore. There's a lot better quality that we could be using if you just get the internet.
But then all my bubble mailers would go to waste.
Playing Magic by mail is actually rather difficult. You got to take a photo of your board state, get the photo developed, and then mail it to you. It's a whole process.
Yeah.
Anyways, if anybody would like to send us an email about whatever, maybe provide some advice to other Dave about how to get the internet, you can do that by sending an email to show@magicprovinggrounds.com.
So yeah, also we're going to post our decks on Moxfield, so check out the links in the show notes. If you have any suggestions on how to improve them, you can send us an email or DM us on Twitter.
I guess that's a wrap. Outro music. What?
You still have to go get a disc out of a CD pizza place in order to get the internet? Is that how it works?
Yeah, AOL. It's been a while for you, hasn't it?
DragonNet, the only internet.
Oh, yeah.
You had to go to Leisure Time Video to get it.
I played a fair amount of Magic at the back of Leisure Time. Yeah. Place was all right.
It was always the strangest thing to me to walk into that pizza place and be like, I need the internet.
You sell the internet on a disc. Give me the internet.
Give me that DragonNet.
That's
what the times have changed.
Oh, what the times.